Let's please give a warm Merrill High School welcome to Russell Simon.
Thank you. Hey, say it. Thanks, brother. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? Good. Hey, you guys. Hey, before I get going, I know you guys want to get out of here, but before I get going, I want to say a couple of things here real quick. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Murray for calling me, working with my schedule, giving me another opportunity to share what I've been sharing with young people and adults all across this great country. So thank you, sir. And I also want to thank you for sticking around for the last hour of your school on this day, which is your day right before spring break. So thanks for hanging out and being here with me, and I really appreciate it. One other thing I want to say before I get going is I guess I just want to be very honest with you guys. And I want to tell you all for the next 45 minutes to an hour or so, I'm not here to entertain you. Just so you all know, I'm not one of those kind of speakers. And you know something? I know you guys probably know the kind of speakers I'm talking about. You know the ones. They come to your schools during the big red ribbon weeks, or the big chemical health weeks, or any other time during the school season, and in an hour, they'll tell you 20 or 30 jokes, and then try to slip in 10 minutes of some sort of real message, run out the gym saying, "See ya, I hope your life changes." Well, just so you all know, I'm not one of those kind of speakers. I don't do it like that for one reason and one reason alone. In my mind, there's nothing funny about drugs. There's nothing funny about alcohol. There's nothing funny about daddies beating mommies in the drunkenness. There's nothing funny about not graduating from high school, passing our favorite classes, or lettering in our favorite sports. And there's certainly nothing funny about young people going to the grave with the music still in them. So tell me, would you guys please tell me, how can I make you laugh? I can't. Instead, what I'm going to attempt to do, and I do mean attempt, is I'm going to try to bring you guys a message straight from the heart. And you know what? I really think that's the only way I can do it, is straight from the heart. So with that all said, let me begin by saying, my name is Russell Simon, and I am still a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. And I think you all probably know what that means, right? Means I'm sober, means I'm straight, means I do not use drugs and I do not drink anymore. That is what it means in that sense. But for guys like me, and you know something? There's a lot of guys just like me. It takes on a little deeper meaning. What it really means is, thank God I'm not dead. Thank God I'm not in prison for the rest of my life looking like this guy. Thank God I'm not blind, paralyzed, maimed, or sipping out of a straw in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, like many people are today, due to this drug and alcohol thing that's affecting so many young people across our country. And I came here this afternoon to tell you all a little bit about my life, where I've been, some of the things I've been through, with the hopes and prayers that not a one of you in this room will ever have to go down the same road that I chose. And you know something? If any one of you is heading down that road, or ever find yourself heading down that road in the future, to be honest with you, to be completely honest with you guys, the only thing I can do for you this afternoon, just like the only thing any speaker can do for you today, tomorrow, or 20 years down the road, is to once again hope and pray that you at least stop, take a couple steps back, and maybe reevaluate some of the choices, some of the decisions that you've all made in your lives up to this point and from here on out. Because really, guys and girls, isn't that what life is full of? Choices and decisions? Matter of fact, 10 seconds can change your life forever. For the good or for the bad. Let me give you a couple of quick examples. It wasn't too long ago in Big Lake, Minnesota. There's a man sitting in a bar having a couple of beers. Now, you guys know, just like I know, in America, when we reach a certain age, alcohol is legal for us. So it was not illegal for this man who was an adult to sit in a bar and have a couple of beers. But here's what I want you to know about this guy. You really, really need to know this before I tell you the rest of the story. This man, he never ever beat his wife. He did not beat his kids. He did not live house to house, paycheck to paycheck, town to town. This man was not a falling down drunk. And guess what? He had never ever been in trouble with the law ever before. He was just sitting in a bar, man, having a couple of beers. He left the bar, hopped on his snowmobile, and he killed. He killed an innocent little 12-year-old boy. Those 10 seconds for that man to choose to drink and drive are now costing him 44 months in prison. 10 seconds can change your life. Northern Minnesota, not too darn long ago, 3 juniors, 11th graders in a high school. They were at a party one night just having a little bit of fun. And isn't that what it's all about, you guys? Just having a little bit of fun. I mean, come on. That's what young people your age tell me all over America. That's what... Well, I didn't think I'd get that kind of response, but that's what young people your age tell me all over America. It's just having fun, Mr. Simon. Come on, man, ease up. Quit being so serious all the time. Tell us a joke once in a while, will you, Mr. Simon? I mean, come on, man. Who are you trying to kid? Everybody drinks nowadays. Everybody smokes pot, Mr. Simon. Everybody has sex before marriage. Russ, come on. Everybody's doing it. Well, I don't know if anybody in this room has ever heard any of those lies yet or not, but I'm here today to tell you. That's what they are, you guys. Nothing but big, fat, juicy lies. Lies that we've been conditioned to believe. It's just not true. Not everybody is doing this kind of stuff. Not everybody's dead, are they? You guys are here. Not everybody's in a juvenile center waiting till they're 18 years old to go home to be with mommy or daddy, are they? You guys are here. Not every young lady, check this one out. Not every young lady that I see who gets off a big, huge, yellow school bus in the morning has a little baby on her hip. Taking her precious little child, you guys hear me? Taking her precious little child to a classroom made into a daycare. Dropping her little baby off and then going down the hallway to get her little 7th or 8th grade English credit. Believe me, please believe me, not everybody is doing this kind of stuff. Don't buy the lie. And that's what it is, you guys, a lie that we've been conditioned to believe. 3 juniors, 11th graders in a high school, at a party one night just having a little bit of fun. I'm sure some of you in this room know of the parties. I know I remember them. The kegs are flowing, the tunes are cranked. They left the party. They hopped in the same vehicle. The road was a little slippery, a little mist in the air. They all went off the road that night and into a lake. All 3 of them died. What we found out shortly thereafter was that they were all legally drunk, and the driver had marijuana in his system. No wonder why they couldn't save their lives, huh? Let alone their friends' lives. Let me ask you all a question. Is there anybody here this afternoon that honestly thinks for 1 second that any one of those other 3 young, precious lives, and you know something? Precious you all are. But do you think they called home before they left the party? Do you think they called home and said, Mom, I love you. Hey, Daddy, I love you, man. Yeah, I'll see you when I get home from the party. I don't think so either. Do you call home before you leave the parties if you're going? I know I never did. 10 seconds can change your life. It can change your life forever, for the good or for the bad. Please know it, and please always believe it. Now, a little background about myself. I was born in Indiana. I moved to Minnesota when I was a young man. I moved to southern Minnesota. I grew up on a farm. I'm a country kid. Matter of fact, the town I grew up in had about 2,500 people, 2 stoplights, and at least, I kid you guys not, at least 4 or 5 bars. You all might know the country, just like I know the country. I am the oldest of 8 kids. I come from a pretty darn big family. And I want to tell you guys something. I'm a mama's boy. I'm real tight with my mama. Now, I also got to tell you, I don't know if that's just because I'm the oldest kid or what, but you know something? Me and my mom are just like this. Just like this. I love that lady so much to this day. And you know something else? If anybody in this room, and I mean anybody, wants to call me a mama's boy, you can call me mama's boy all day long. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because moms are special. Dads are special. Brothers and sisters are special. And when push comes to shove and you really need a little love, my experience, at least back then, my family was there for me. You know who wasn't there for me? The people in my life that would say stuff like this. Hey, Russ. Hey, Russ, if you get caught, man, don't snitch on me. You know something, bro? If I get busted, I won't rat on you either. And you know something, man? If you do get caught and you go to jail or treatment centers or psych wards or detox or prison, just keep your big mouth shut, man. I'll be there for you. I'll write you letters. I'll visit you, Russ. I'll send you money once in a while. You know what? I'll even have a girl sneak in some dope once a month. Just don't rat on me, bro. You know something, you guys? Not one, but every one of my so-called friends that promised me stuff like that. The next time I saw them, they came to prison, or I read about them in the obituaries. Guess what? They weren't there for me when I got in trouble, just like I wasn't there for them when they got in trouble. But you know who was there for me? My blood, my mom, my dad, my little baby brothers and sisters. The people that I hurt the most, can you guys hear me? The people that I hurt the most were also the same people that deep down inside of me I loved the most. They were there for me. But like many young folks, not only here in your great state of Wisconsin, but believe me, and please believe me, you guys, all across this mighty nation, I also grew up in an alcoholic family. And growing up in an alcoholic family, I saw a lot of violence between my mom and my dad. And what I mean by that is, I saw a lot of knives, a lot of guns, a lot of ambulances, and a lot of cops. A lot of crazy, crazy things happened in my home. You know what? It seemed like every single time my mom and dad drank, something bad would happen. Something bad would always happen, be it cupboard doors getting slammed shut, things getting tossed around the house, the verbal abuse, but most often, the physical abuse. Because in the drunkenness, my dad used to beat us. And my papa beat me. He used to beat me with a horsewhip. And he beat me till he drew blood on my body, or till there was big old red welts. So a lot of the fighting, it always seemed to happen in the drunkenness when Dad wanted to beat me. Mom would jump in and stick up for me. Let me ask you all a quick question. And you know something? I don't got too many questions I'm going to ask you today. But when I do ask you guys a question, if you think you might know the answer, or you do know the answer, you don't have to raise your hand, okay? Just kind of yell it out. Will you guys please try to participate as much as possible? Thank you. Thank you. Anyways, here's the question. What do you guys think would happen once Mom stuck up for me? Anybody? She got beat, she got hit. I hope everybody in this room heard that, especially every single adult. Because you know something, you guys? Listen very carefully. It breaks my heart. It literally breaks my heart whenever anybody answers that question. You know why? Because I honestly do not think that has to always be the answer. But in the same breath, I gotta tell you, it really doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't surprise me. I also gotta tell you this real quick. For the last 13 years of my life, I've been really blessed, man. I don't got too much to complain about. I really don't, though I find myself complaining sometimes, okay? I've now been in 38 different states speaking to people. I've been in 3 different countries doing this. I've been on 2 national TV shows. I wrote a couple of books, talked to as little as 2 people to as many as 25,000. Doctors, lawyers, FBI agents, teachers, but mainly middle school and high school students all over America. And not one time, do you guys hear me? Not one time, be it a group of kindergartners to a group of senior citizens, let alone a group of 9th through 12th graders, have I ever heard anybody ever answer that question by saying something like this. I'm Mr. Simon. Mr. Simon, your mom walked away. Your dad walked away, Russ. They took a time out, Mr. Simon, and dealt with it later. What else could they do? How come nobody, and I mean nobody, ever answers that way? Maybe because so many people across this country and possibly in this room today know how powerful and dangerous alcohol and drugs truly, truly are. And that when we are under the influence of such things, not all the time, but enough of the time, we often do the things we know we ought not to do. We often do the things we know we ought not to do. But you know something? Whether quite a few of you voiced it, and you all probably thought it, you're absolutely correct. Once Mom stuck up for me, Dad in turn would beat her. And once it got to that point, I would take on the role as the oldest of trying to protect my mom by getting my dad off of her, which would usually give Mom a chance to do one of two things. She could either run and lock herself in the bathroom or hop on the phone and dial 911. Then my dad would either catch me and beat me or else I'd get away. And I remember we lived in the country, had one of those big old farmhouses. You guys know the ones I'm talking about? Big old farmhouse. And I would always try to keep my bedroom window open about an inch or so. That way, I never have to worry if it was locked or if it got stuck. So if I did get my dad off my mom and he didn't catch me, I could break up the steps, get in my room, lift the window up real quick, hop out on the roof, slide down the roof, go down the tree, and run up to the neighbor's house for the night, spend the night at the neighbor's, or else I'd sneak back in the house late at night after my dad was passed out in his favorite chair. And yes, I want to tell you guys, yes, my daddy had a favorite chair. It was a black recliner, a black reclining chair. And I want you all to know how I know, without any shadow of a doubt, that that was my daddy's favorite chair. Because for as much as I can remember to this day, I can still picture in my mind this thing called a memory. Believe me, I wish I could shake it, but it just won't go away. And I can still remember way back then, my dad giving that evil spirit called alcoholism one last kiss goodnight. Setting it down. And passing out in that chair. That really was my daddy's chair. Now, the kind of people I hung around with were athletes, jocks. I'm a jock. I love sports. I love all sports. But my number one sport by far is hockey. And all my friends back in the 7th, 8th, 9th grade and previous, everybody hung around with, guess what, you guys? Nobody drank. Nobody smoked pot. Nobody smoked cigarettes. Matter of fact, and you guys can believe this or not, but back when I was in the 7th, 8th, 9th grade and previous in rural Minnesota on the farm in the country, I didn't even know what marijuana was. I didn't even know what weed was, man, until I was 15 years old, starting high school. Would you guys agree with me? I'm a late bloomer by today's standards. You guys better agree with me, because by today's standards in America, if a kid in 2nd or 3rd grade don't know what dope is, there's something wrong with them. And that's a shame. Think about that, high schoolers. That's a crying shame. That's not the way it is supposed to be. But back then, I honestly did not know what drugs were. Oh, you know what I did know about? I just told you. I knew about alcohol. And you know how I knew about alcohol? The same way some of you might know about it. Because I remembered. I remembered all the craziness that happened every time Mom and Dad drank. All the violence, all the verbal abuse. I remember walking in the kitchen one day, catching my mom emptying a bottle down the sink. Mom, what are you doing? Oh, we're not drinking anymore, son. Look, all gone. Things will get better this time. We promise. Or Mom finding a bottle of Dad's hid somewhere. The house, the barn, the tractor, the garage, under the bed, in the closet, wherever. Marking it to see if Daddy's been nipping on the bottle. Or better yet, this is a good one. Pops comes in from the fields. He gets off the tractor. He says, hey, son, you want to run to town with me? Want to go to the store? Sure, Dad. All right, come on. Hop in the pickup truck. Get in the truck with my dad. We drive downtown. Dad parks the truck. Dad gets out of the truck. I'm starting to get out, and Dad says, no, Russ, wait here. Stay in the truck, son. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, Dad. You want to bring me a candy bar? Pack of baseball cards? Yeah, son. I'll be back in 5 minutes. The only thing is, Daddy would go into some bar and come out an hour or 2 hours later, drunker than a skunk, while I'm sitting in the truck with the door locked, being a good little boy. So that's how I know about alcohol. It kills. It hurts people. It separates families. It causes division amongst loved ones and friends. It brings consequences into people's lives. And guess what, high schoolers? It is still the #1 killer amongst teenagers in America. Alcohol, beer, whiskey, liquor, you can call it what you want. It is still the #1 killer amongst teenagers in this great, great country. Now I wish, believe me how I wish I could stand in front of you today and tell you guys I never drank and never did drugs. Believe me when I say that. When I wish I could say that. But I just can't tell you that today. Can't tell you that today. For me, it started in the 10th grade. 15 years of age. But before I tell you all about it, I want to tell you guys about 7 of the most important words ever written, okay? They go like this. As you think, so shall you be. 7 more words. As you sow, so shall you reap. But the way I understand the best goes something like this. What comes around, goes around. Or is that what goes around, comes around? Either way, it's the same thing. And I guess what I'm trying to say to y'all is this. If we are around, you guys hear me? If we are around people long enough, getting high, getting drunk, smoking cigarettes, pinching money from mama's purse, lying, cheating, stealing, skipping school, the truth is, and this is the truth, eventually we could be doing some of those exact same things. Why? There's only one way I can explain why. It goes like this. Temptation. Peer pressure, weakness of our flesh, our sinful natures. That is how it happens, you guys. If you don't believe me, if you honestly don't believe me, check this one out. If anybody in this room, God forbid, if anybody in this room has ever done drugs or drank as a minor, if you guys do tonight or next week or 5 years down the road, I will guarantee you, listen up, high schoolers, I will guarantee you, just like I will guarantee every single adult in this room, if they've ever done anything in their own personal lives, there's not a one of us in this gym today that woke up one day thus far, and there's not a one of us in this gym today that will wake up one day in the future, just like I never did, and go something like this. Oh, man, I got a good night's sleep. Wow, what time is it? Man, I slept for 10 hours. Boy, I'm refreshed, ripping, raring, ready to go. It's sunny and 70. What a gorgeous day. Man, what should I do today? I don't got nothing to do. Mom and Dad are gone. All my friends are gone. School's out. I don't got to go to work because I don't got a job. So what should I do? I don't got nothing to do, man. Let's figure this one out. Hey, I know what I'm going to do. I got it. It just came to me. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start drinking today. Why not? I don't got nothing else. I'll start drinking, smoke a little weed, do a little methamphetamine, take an oxycodone now and then again. Why not? I don't got nothing else to do. I never did that, and neither did any of you, and you never will do that. I was around it. I saw it. I smelt it. I knew what it was all about. Plus, you guys want to know what else I did? You want to know what else I did? I did like we were taught to do. I really did like we were taught to do. Are you guys ready? Just say, I said no. No. No, I don't want to do that. No, it's wrong, man. But one day I gave in. And you know something? I'm not going to lie to you guys. In the beginning, I had fun. I had fun, man. I'm not going to kid you. But guess what? The fun changed. The fun changed for me like it changes for many, in many, many different ways. For me, it changed when I started doing things I didn't do before drugs or alcohol, like steal money from my mama's purse. I'll tell you something. It's a sad, sad day when the people that brought you into this world, fed you, clothed you, loved you, did the best they could for you, got to hide their money because their own flesh and blood is going to rob them blind. I started cussing my parents out. Never, ever before drugs or alcohol did I ever swear at my mom or dad. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I said some bad words behind their back in the barn or on the tractor, okay? Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't until I started drinking and drugging that I would stand right in front of my mama's face. My mom, who I'm supposed to love so much, huh? And I would call her filthy, rotten, dirty names. I was a different person. And everybody around me could see the difference, except me, because I chose to stay stuck. My grades went from B's to C's to D's. My sports went down the tubes. My relationships weren't any good. But guess what? I didn't have a problem. At least that's what I thought. You know why I didn't have a problem? Because it was always somebody else's fault. It's mom's fault. It's dad's fault. It's my girlfriend's fault. It's the principal's fault. It's the cops' fault, Mom. Really, the cops are out to get me. That's why I get in trouble. Really, they're out to get me, man. Or better yet, you know who I used to blame? Whoever you are, whatever you are, you made me the way I am. I can't change. Always somebody else's fault for the poor choices, the poor decisions that we all sometimes make in our lives. Isn't it true? By the time I was 22 years old, been through treatment centers, psych wards, detoxes, and jails. Everything went in one ear and out the other ear. My way or no way, Mr. Know-It-All. At the age of 22, you know what I ran out of, you guys? I ran out of these. No more slaps on the wrist. Remember, you guys said it. Think about it. You guys said it. You said it, not me. What comes around? No more slaps on the wrist, man. It finally caught up to me. And I got sentenced to 125 months in prison. That's 10 years, 5 months. I got locked up when I was 22. I got out when I was 30. I went to St. Cloud Reformatory in St. Cloud, Minnesota in a van with no windows. My feet were shackled. I was handcuffed, had a waist chain around me, hooked up to a bunch of other guys. In my heart of hearts, I knew I was going to spend my next 8 to 10 years behind those big, huge walls with machine gun towers. You know what I was thinking to myself on that long, lonely stretch of freeway so many years ago? I was honestly thinking to myself, am I going to get raped? Am I going to get killed? Am I going to have to kill somebody? Is somebody dear to me that I love going to die when I'm locked up? All that stuff zipping through my brain, man. When I got there, they took me to this place called quarantine. It's a place where they lock you up for the first 48 hours. They check you for AIDS, crabs, TB, hepatitis, all that disease kind of stuff, right? Well, after I got out of quarantine, I got called into a little room. I was told to sit down, shut your mouth, and don't say a word. We got a new name for you. Your name is no longer Russell Simon. I looked at this guy, I'm like, excuse me, officer? What do you mean my name is no longer Russell Simon? Listen here, man. My mama, she named me when I was a baby. My name is Russell James Simon Jr. That's my name, man. You're not taking my name from me. This is what the guard said word for word, and I kid you not, I will never, ever forget what this guy looked like, what he said to me, or how he said it. But this is what that man said, word for word. He said, "Too bad, boy, your mama ain't here now, is she? You're a part of the Minnesota Department of Corrections. We're going to give you a new name. You're going to know your new name, and when we call you by it, you're going to come to it. Do you understand me?" Yes, sir. Listen, man, you don't got to get crazy with me. Yeah, I understand you. What's my new name? Your new name is 124938. You're a number. You're a statistic. You are a part of the Minnesota Department of Corrections. This here is my mugshot. This is what I looked like when I was locked up. Not a happy camper, huh? Some of the things they'd say stuff like this. 124938, report to the bubble. The doctor is here. 124938, report to the bubble. Your canteen is ready. 124938, report to the bubble. You got a visit. Then I have to go through 9, check it out, 9 steel doors just to get in the visiting room. Then you get pat searched and strip searched on the way in, pat searched and strip searched on the way out. And when I say strip searched, I mean you bend them, you spread them, you lift them. The whole degrading, demoralizing process both ways. You know something, young people? It is so shameful. It is so shameful to have to go through that. It kind of makes a guy not want to have visits. Knowing that you got to go through that just to get in the visiting room to see your mama or your daddy or someone that you might love and get a hug, get a kiss that you can't get elsewhere. That's how bad it is. But you know something? I always went on my visits. Oh yeah, I didn't care what I had to go through. You know why? Because the minute that big, huge steel door slammed behind me for the very first night, I finally realized something. I finally realized I was now living for 3 things. My mail, my phone calls, and my visits. Any kind of outside contact with the world, with society. The things I took for granted in my life, which was my life itself, my freedoms, I cherished once I lost them. And isn't that true, you guys? Isn't it true for every single one of us in this room? We often have to wait till something bad, something terrible, something tragic happens until we realize until we realize how precious America really is? Or until we realize how precious our lives most absolutely are? We often have to wait until tragedy strikes before we say, whoa, enough is enough. I'm all done messing around. You guys want to know what's sad sometimes? Often saying, whoa, enough is enough isn't enough. I saw stabbings, rapes, suicides, and 2 murders while I was there. They tell you when you can go to your cell, come out of your cell, go to the gym, go to the yard, use the phone, go to the store and have visits. I made 40 cents an hour. Let me say that one more time. I made 40 cents an hour, 26 bucks every 2 weeks. Highest paying job in Minnesota back then was $1 an hour. Now, I don't know what the going rate is over here in Wisconsin, but I'll tell you what, I'll bet you it's not much higher or lower than $1 an hour. Matter of fact, you want to hear something else? The last thing they give you before you leave the prison is your envelope with your check in it. Now, I'm free, man. I'm free. All I got to do is hop in a car that's waiting for me and leave this place. Well, before I hop in the car that's waiting for me, you know what I did? I went like this. And I ripped open that envelope. I wanted to see how much cash I'd have as a 30-year-old man starting out in society. You know what the check said? The check said $153.97. The lady who gave it to me went just like this, and I kid you not. See you later, Mr. Simon. We hope you don't come back. Believe me, if anybody ever goes down this road, or you know someone heading down this road, you're not going to walk out with a big old fat knot of money in your pocket. It just doesn't happen. And now let's ask the question, what does drugs and alcohol have to do with prison and doing time? Well, let me tell you guys something. Since 1995, America's been building jails and prisons faster than we've been building schools. Of the 2 million plus people locked up in our country today, 2 million plus people locked up, that doesn't include probation, parole, treatment centers, psych wards, that doesn't include any of that stuff. Just jail, just prison. They say 78.3%, roughly 8 out of every 10 people locked up in America today, guess what? They were high or drunk when they broke the law. They were under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Be it the small town country kid who goes to the party on their spring break night and gets drunk and hops in the car and kills somebody, vehicular homicide, to the fallen down crack cocaine addict who goes to the local grocery store and robs it for some money. And all played a part about why they're locked up in the first place. Incredible statistics. You're behind 4 walls with 4 corners. You can't run, you can't hide. You have every color of person you can think of, every crime possible. You know what? Wisconsin's just like Minnesota, unless you guys can tell me different. Wisconsin does not, do you guys hear me? Wisconsin does not, to my knowledge, have separate prisons for child molesters only, rapists over here, serial killers right here, burglars right here, forgers right here, auto theft people right here, and all the little drug dealers and alcoholics over here in Stanley, Wisconsin. You're all in the same place. You guys, just like us in Minnesota, have men and women doing 1 year to 100 years in prison, and then know this, there's drugs there. Oh yeah, figure that one out, huh? Drugs in prison, lots of them. Alcohol too, homemade booze. You know what we call it here in the Midwest? We call it hooch. From Springfield, Missouri, Highway 44 South, Payne Stewart, Memorial Highway, it's called homebrew. East Coast, West Coast, it's called buck, B-U-C-K. So not only do we got men and women getting high, getting drunk, doing 1 year to 100 years in prison, but they're also committing new crimes while they're there. See this case of weapons? Given to me by the Minnesota Department of Corrections. I go back in prisons all over America. And one day I was in Stillwater State Prison, and when I got done talking, a guard said he had something for me. I'm like, what do you got for me? Gave me this big old plastic tub full of weapons. He said, why don't you take them home, clean them up, put them in a case so no one can get to them, and show young people. He specifically said, show young people. Some of the stuff we confiscate on inmates. Incredible. Billy clubs, nunchucks, big old pieces of steel. Incredible. Now the worst thing to happen to me, by far the worst thing that ever happened to me while I was in prison, happened on November 9th, 1989. I was laying in my cell one day, didn't have a job, nowhere to go, nothing to do. Jobs are real hard to come by because of the overpopulation. And all of a sudden I heard my name over the loudspeaker. 12:49:38, report to the bubble. You got to pass. My door popped open. I got up, threw my clothes on. I walked down to the desk. I said, hey, officer, where's the pass to? He sent us to the psychiatrist's office. I said, listen here, man, I don't want to see no psychiatrist. I'm okay. I'm not going to hurt myself. He said, too bad. You still need to go see the psychiatrist. Then he said, if you don't want to stay, come on back. We'll put you in your cell. Actually, you know what? He was a pretty cool guard. He really was. He was a good guy. So I took his pass, and I walked down the long, dark corridor in prison. And I got to the psychiatrist's office. And I walked in. And the first words out of this man's mouth were this. He said, your mom is dying. Your mom is dying, and you get two choices. You can go see her on her deathbed, or you can go to her funeral. My mom was only 50 years old. She was young. She was brain dead. She was comatose. The only thing keeping that lady alive was a machine until her oldest boy, who was in prison, could come and say his last respects. She left 7 kids at home, 6 of them still in school. Believe me, please believe me, you guys, moms are special. So are dads, and yes, so are brothers and sisters. And like I said earlier, I'll say it one more time. If y'all wanted to, you could call me Mama's boy all day long. I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with it. I went and saw my mama for the last time in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, Mercy Medical Center. I was in shackles and chains. There was 2 guards with me shoulder to shoulder, and I got to spend 2 hours with my mom. I can easily stand here in front of you today and tell you that it was by far the worst day of my entire life thus far. To see someone you love laying there helpless. She couldn't move, she couldn't talk, she couldn't breathe on her own. You know what the doctor told me? The doctor said, talk to your mom, Mr. Simon. Talk to your mom. Because they say the last thing to go into comatose state is the hearing. She can still hear you, but she won't be able to respond. I didn't know what to say to my mom, you guys. What could I say to her after I told you how I lived pretty much most of my life? Better yet, what could you guys say? What could you guys say right now, right here today, to the people that you love deepest in your hearts, if you were ever in a similar situation, probably, check it out, probably not even being in prison? What could you say? I don't know what you could say, but I hope and I personally pray you could all say something different than what I had to. Because the truth is, the only thing I could say to my mom at that time of my life was this. And this is just a small piece of it, but it goes something like this. I'm sorry, Mom. Mom, I'm sorry. Will you please forgive me? I'm sorry for cussing you out, Ma. I'm sorry for lying to you, Ma. I'm sorry for pinching money from your purse, Ma. I'm sorry for throwing the broom at you that one day, Ma, hitting you and taking off out the back door. Will you please forgive me? Then as my hands were handcuffed, I reached out and grabbed my mama's hand. And I held it for a long, long time. And then I finally said it. It finally came out of me. I said, I love you, Ma. Mom, I love you. But my mama couldn't tell me she loved me back because she was brain dead. I went back to prison that day more broken than what I already was, full of all those feelings. You guys know the ones, right? The ones we don't like to talk about. The hurt, the pain, the guilt, the shame, the anger. Instead of talking about my emotions and dealing with them appropriately, I did like I did when I was in the 10th grade. Once the fun was over, I continued to use and abuse drugs and alcohol for 2 reasons. Number 1, to be cool, to fit in, to be accepted, to be liked. And number 2, to try to mask or run from some of those hurts, those pains, those guilts, and those shames. But guess what, high schoolers? I don't care how high or how drunk I got, the pain never, ever went away. Every time I came down, the problems were still there. Nothing changed but me. And it never took me up. It always took me down. 6 months after my mama died, on July 1st, 1990, a man came into my cell. A big, huge white man, 6'4", 280 pounds. Tattoos from his neck all the way down. Both arms were tatted up. Matter of fact, he had the words white pride on the back of his arms. Had number 13 on his ankle. He done killed 13 people before he was never, ever going home. He said, I'm going to get you, boy. I'm going to get you before you leave. You're mine. You're mine. And he walked away. The next day, I bought me a carton of cigarettes. I traded him to a man in the metal shop for a piece of steel. When this guy came at me, I pulled my piece out of my ace bandage. And I started swinging it. And I'll never, ever forget what I said to this guy. I said, mister, you had better kill me, because I'm not going to let you rape me like some of these other guys are letting you do it to them just because they're scared. And the last time I swung, I hit him. And when I hit him from here all the way down to here. They took me from the prison to the streets, Sherburne County, Elk River, Minnesota, and I was charged with attempted murder. Oh yeah, that's what they do nowadays. You guys, even for fist fighting. Someone pats you in your butt in prison and call you cutie, and you swing on them and draw blood. That's the 5th degree assault. They're taking people from the prison to the streets all over America and giving them more time in prison. They tried to give me 20 more years in prison. I went to trial, and after a 10-day long jury trial, I was found not guilty by reason of self-defense. Nonetheless, after my trial, instead of taking a left on the freeway to go back to the reformatory, they took a right. You know what I thought? I thought they were going to take me and beat me up. I'm like, officer, where are we going? You're going to Oak Park Heights, the underground prison. One of a few underground prisons like it in the world. It only holds 350 people. And of those 350 people, 60% of them are doing life without parole, meaning they're never, ever going home. John Gotti was there, Manuel Noriega, the Catch Me Killer Paul Stefani, Christopher Boyce from the movie The Falcon and the Snowman, bunch of people there just like that, high-profile cases. When I got to Oak Park Heights, the prison charged me with the same crime, attempted murder. The prison found me guilty. The prison always finds you guilty. And when they found me guilty, they sentenced me to the maximum that they could under Minnesota state law. They sentenced me to 2 years. 2 years of solitary confinement, the whole. Where you get out of your cell for an hour a day, you don't get your own clothes, no TV, no fan, no radio. You get 3 10-minute phone calls a week and one 1-hour visit a week. That 1-hour visit is behind glass on a phone. After I got out of the hole, I stayed out of trouble long enough. I went to treatment. Oh yeah, I got to tell you guys, they have treatment centers in our prisons nowadays. That should tell you how bad the drug and alcohol problem truly is. Heck, well, you guys probably already know this, but heck, they have daycares. You guys hear me? They have daycares in most of our public school systems in America. Go figure that, huh? And you don't think drugs or alcohol play a part of that statistic? Don't fool yourselves, young people. Don't you ever fool yourselves. Drugs and alcohol play a part of every single negative statistic there is in this country, be it the divorce rate, to the dropout rate, to the incarceration rate, to the AIDS population rate, to the teenage pregnancy rate. Maybe not 100% of the time, all the time, but usually 50% of the time or higher, most of the time. Incredible statistics. On July 6th of 1992, I finally reached my rock bottom, or whatever you want to call it. I got to a point where the only way I was going from here was either death or staying in prison for the rest of my life. I got to that point where it's time to change or die. And on July 6th of 1992, I finally surrendered. And when I surrendered, I dropped that tough guy image. You know that myth? That myth that says guys don't cry, big boys don't cry, men don't show emotion. Has anybody in this room ever heard of that stuff before? Anybody? I know you have. I know you have. Another lie that us men have been, or us men as young men, have been conditioned to believe. And it's a lie. It's all a lie. Just like everybody drinks, everybody smokes pot, everybody has sex before marriage, men don't cry, big boys don't show emotion. It's all lies. We know it, but we justify in our brains to give us an excuse to do the things we know we ought not to be doing. All it is an excuse by saying, well, everybody does it, so I'm going to do it. All my friends do it, so I'm going to drink. It's just an excuse to do what? To sin. That's all it is. You know it and I know it. It's just an excuse to get away with something, to make you feel better because everybody's doing it, so I'm going to do it. I want to say something directly to all the young men in this room. Don't you ever let another man tell you another man or boy does not cry. They are lying to your face. And all you young men here today, if you ever have sons of your own, please, 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 don't you dare tell your boy that same lie. Don't do that to your kid. I've seen Michael Jordan cry. I've seen Tiger Woods cry. I've seen Sammy Sosa cry. A few years ago, I spoke in front of the entire St. Louis Cardinal baseball team, and I saw Mr. Mark McGwire not cry, but bawl his eyes out like a little baby Talk about a man who has a heart for people. Jesus cried. And you know something else? Since 9/11 of '01, our own President of the United States of America, love him or hate him, has cried at least 2 times on national TV. Tell me men can't cry, and I will look you straight in your face and call you a liar. It's okay to talk about this stuff, guys and gals. It's always okay to talk about no matter what it is that's going on in our lives. Those are your thoughts, your feelings. Don't you ever let anybody try to shut you down. It's just how you deal with those thoughts and those feelings that make a difference. For example, do you guys keep stuff inside and someday explode? Or you turn to drugs, turn to alcohol, try to smoke them or drink them away, knowing that when you come down, the same problems are still there, nothing changed? Nonetheless, I got sober July 6, 1992. I got out of prison December 9th, 1993. I've been out over 13 years now. Life after prison has not been easy. Lots of ups, lots of downs. But I had goals. I had dreams. I got involved in self-help groups. AA, NA, EA, Emotional, Alcoholics, Narcotics Anonymous, higher power stuff, spiritual stuff. My life began to change. Now, some of the things still with me today from the drug world you guys can't see. On this side of my nose, way up here, I got a couple holes from all the stuff I've snorted. Sometime soon, they're going to cut my nose, peel it back, and fix it. I get flashbacks once in a great while. But more often than not, I get a taste in my mouth. It's called euphoric recall. Certain times when I think about drugs or alcohol, I can taste them. I can literally taste them in my mouth. My hands tend to sweat and shake whenever I talk about sticking needles in my arms, or my feet, or the side of my neck. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't tell you guys that, did I? Well, let me tell you now. And you know something? Only you guys know if this stuff is true. Only you guys know if this stuff is true. But for this little old country boy, and you know what, that's what I am, a little old country boy. It didn't start with heroin, does it ever? It didn't start with crack cocaine or methamphetamines or oxycodines or ecstasy or whatever else is on the market today. And then the last thing I did before I started messing my life up was drink some beer and smoke some weed. It started with drinking beer and smoking weed. That's usually how it always starts. Does it always go on to the other stuff? No. Very seldom does it always go on to the other stuff. It doesn't have to. Lots of times that's all it takes is some alcohol or some weed to mess your life up. That's all it takes. And when I say mess your life up, what do we think? Death and prison, right? That's not what I mean, death or prison, though that can be part of it. What about growing up and marrying someone and beating her? Like you might have saw your daddy beat your mommy. What about working a nickel-dime job all your life? Going from house to house, paycheck to paycheck, not giving a hoot about where you've been or where you're going. That's what I'm talking about. Not having ambition, just staying stuck, being miserable. We always think the worst, don't we? Death or prison. And if I ain't dying or getting in trouble, then hey, my life's good. What about not graduating from high school, passing our favorite classes, lettering our favorite sports, getting that promotion at work, and so on and so forth? There's so many other consequences besides death or prison. So many other consequences. Nonetheless, I got sober. I'm very thankful to be able to be sober today. Now, some of the things I have today that I never had before in my past, that I have some consistency with anyways, you know what I got? I got a little money in my pocket. I got some food in my belly. I got a place to sleep at night. I don't ever have to look over my shoulder again thinking the cops are after me or one of my so-called bros is going to rob me out of drugs or money. And if I die, right now, right here today, on the way home to Roseville, Minnesota, where I live with my little 8-year-old boy, I'm dying drug, alcohol, and nicotine-free. And you know something else, you guys, and this is the best part, so please, please listen. Not only if I was to die today, would I be dying drug, alcohol, and nicotine-free, but without any doubt, no doubt whatsoever, period. Guess what? I know where I'm going when I die, and I believe it. And that's what life is all about, you young people. Life, you guys hear me? Life is about living, not dying. Life is about faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. That's truly, truly what this life is all about. My message today goes like this. Reach out. Reach out and live, you young people, please. Don't ever die to this stuff or have any consequences because of it. If there is anything, and I mean anything, going on in your home lives, your social lives, your peer lives, reach out and talk about it. Deal with it. Don't be a pretender or a make-believer like I was or many people are today. Use the resources in your homes, your schools, your communities, your churches, and take that first step forward and set yourself free. Because you know what? It is the truth that will set you free. The truth will always, always set you free. But guess what, high schoolers? That's your choice. And that will always be your choice. Because would you all not agree with me that in this life that we do live, we have the freedom to choose? You guys agree with that? The places we go, the food we eat, the people we sit next to, and even the clothes we wear. But you know what we never have the freedom of? We never have the freedom of consequence. And I'm here today to share with you, just like I'm sure some of you could stand down here and share with me, that when you fail to control the events in your life, then someday the events will control you. Make no mistake about it. It happens more often than not when anybody at any age uses and abuses alcohol and or drugs. Make no mistake about it whatsoever. Now, before I go, and I want to tell you guys I'm pretty much done. I don't have a big finale at the end, but I want to share a story here real quick for the girls and for the young guys, but especially directed toward the young ladies. I go to Kentucky. I've been in Kentucky for 12 years in a row now. I spent anywhere from 2 weeks to a month in that state. And last year, I was in Williamsburg, Kentucky. It was my second time in that school. And when I got done talking in an auditorium, a gal came walking down to the stage, and she had tears. She was 17 years old, good-looking gal, had tears just running down her face. I mean, it's like a water fountain. She wasn't sobbing. She wasn't crying. It's just like tears just kept running down her face. And she came up to me, and she said, "Mr. Simon, I want to thank you for coming to my school today. You really touched me. You made a difference in my life today." She said, "Can I get a hug?" I said, "Sure." Gave her a hug. She said, "Can I show you something, Mr. Simon?" I'm like, "All right, what do you want to show me?" She said, "Come on." She took me down the hallway to the daycare in the school. She said, "Do you see that crib over there, Mr. Simon? That's my son. That's my boy. Will you please go pick my boy up and hold him in your arms? Will you please, please, please just hold my little boy in your arms, Mr. Simon?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the oldest of 8 kids. I love kids. Yeah, I got no problem with holding your kid." Make no mistake about it. I've seen lots of bad things in my life. I've seen lots of bad things, man, that no one should see. But make no mistake about it, young people. I've never seen anything so terrible than a precious, innocent little baby shaking uncontrollably because the way the mommy was out having fun polluting her womb. And that's exactly what that young lady wanted to show me. "Look at me, Mr. Simon. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. I still play basketball. Look at me. But look what happened to my baby." You never know how this stuff will get you. You never know. There's not a one of us that knows when we're going to die. Just like there's not a one of us that knows how drugs, alcohol, or nicotine will affect us today, tomorrow, or 20 years down the road. Nobody has those answers. That's why this stuff is so serious. And on the eve of your spring break, my prayer for this community, this will be my prayer, on my way home in my own little mind, I'm going to pray that when you guys come back to school, you won't be coming back into this room on that Monday morning, a week from Monday, to have 2 minutes of silence because one of you were out having fun during this next week and something bad happened. That's going to be my prayer for this community, because you never know. You never know. Be a light into the darkness. Step away and see how many friends you got. Stay away from the parties. You'll see how many friends you really got, man. You'll see who really is your true friend if you step away from some of the craziness. You don't believe me? Try it once. You got the rest of your life, right? Try 60 days. Try 30 days. Try this next week, staying away from the parties. You'll see how many people are your real friends. You'll know what I'm talking about. Anyways, before I go, I want to tell you guys about my books. I'm not a famous anybody. My books aren't in any bookstores anywhere in America, but I'm very, very blessed to say my first book, there's now over 40,000 copies in print. It's called Inside the Walls, a book about drugs, prison, gangs, and recovery. My second book, which came out a couple years ago, there's close to 20,000 of this one in print. It's called No Way But God's Way. And finally, I was able to go inside a prison with a camera crew, and I made a video called 10 Seconds Can Change Your Life Forever, for the good or for the bad. The choice is yours, and the choice will always be yours. So if you guys ever see these in the future, pick them up, read them. I guarantee you there's a message in there for you or someone that you might love. Now, before we break it out of here, I know you guys probably want to get going, but I want to ask you if there's any questions. And if there is, I will certainly try to answer them. So does anybody have any questions about anything? I suppose you guys want to break on out of here, don't you? All right, thanks for being a great group. God bless you, and have a safe spring break. Thank you.